Did you know that the well-known calendar of the Maya wasn't just one calendar, but two, working simultaneously together, but only dating 52 years in advance? Stick around to learn more about the Maya civilization. Hello and welcome to World History Encyclopedia. My name is Kelly, and today we're going to have a look at the Mesoamerican civilization of the Maya. Don't forget, the easiest way to support us is by giving this video a thumbs up and subscribing to our channel so you don't miss out on any new uploads. The Maya are a people indigenous to Mexico and Central America, who have continuously inhabited the modern regions of Yucatan, Quintana Roo, Campeche, Tabasco, and Chiapas in Mexico, and southward through Guatemala, Belize, El Salvador, and Honduras for over 1,000 years. They occupied the region from circa 1800 BCE, and in circa 1500 CE, they abandoned their cities and moved to outlying rural areas prior to the Spanish invasion. Between 250 and 950 CE, the Maya flourished in a period which is known as the Classic Maya period. The Maya built their cities of stone and brick and are known for the soaring step pyramid temples that have been found in every major Maya center across Mesoamerica, such as Chichen Itza, Tikal, Palenque, Altenja, and Mayapan. They are also famous for their calendar, which is interpreted as predicting the end of the world on the 12th of December 2012, but more on that later. The history of Mesoamerica has been divided into specific periods, which reveals the development of the region and cultures of the area, including the emergence and growth of the Maya. So let's take a step back and look at the civilizations that came before the Maya. The first period is the Archaic period, which dates between 7000 to 2000 BCE. At this time, hunter-gatherers occupied the area and began to domesticate animals such as dogs and turkey, along with food such as maize, also known as corn, beans, and other vegetables. The first villages were established in the region at this time, and they included sacred spots and temples dedicated to various gods. The next period is the Olmec period, between 1500 to 200 BCE, which saw the flourishing of the Olmec culture, the oldest in Mesoamerica. They settled along the Gulf of Mexico and built cities, as well as creating the famous large stone heads, which led to the idea that the people who made them must have been giants. No one knows where the Olmecs came from or what happened to them, but they did set up the foundation for all future Mesoamerican civilizations. Next is the Zapotec period, between 600 BCE and 800 CE, for while the Olmec were firmly established along the Gulf of Mexico, the Zapotecs inhabited the modern region of Oaxaca, and the center of Multi-Album was established and became the capital of the Zapotec kingdom. It is unclear whether the Zapotecs were related to the Olmecs or simply influenced by them, but during this period, the Zapotec people cultivated important cultural concepts such as writing, astronomy, mathematics, and the creation of a calendar, all of which were further refined by the Maya. Next, we have the Teotihuacan period between 200 and 900 CE, which saw the city of Teotihuacan grow in both size and influence. Since the community of the rival city of Quiquicol was destroyed by a volcano in around 100 CE, Teotihuacan became the dominant city in the region. It was an important religious center that was devoted to the worship of the mother goddess and her consort, the plumed serpent. Sometime in around 900 CE, Teotihuacan was abandoned and the city now lies in ruin. The period between 250 and 950 CE is known as both the El Tajin period, the Classic Maya period, and the Classic period of Mesoamerica. During this time, the number of cities grew and the population of the Maya was in the millions. The sacred ball game called Pocatoke, which was important to the Maya, was developed at this time, and the largest number of ball courts have been found in El Tajin. During this time, the Maya reached their cultural height and perfected mathematics, astronomy, architecture and visual arts, and their calendar. Between around 950 and 1524 CE, the Maya cities were abandoned, and no explanation has yet been found for the movements of the Maya to the rural areas from their impressive cities. After the Maya abandoned their cities, the people known as the Toltecs inhabited the urban centers and repopulated them. It is now clear that the Maya had left their cities prior to the Spanish conquest of the region, and the traditional end to the Maya civilization is dated to 1524 CE, when they were defeated at the Battle of Yucatan by the Spanish. The Maya believed that nothing was born or died, one did not die and go to heaven or hell, but everything was one eternal cycle. They believed that below the earth was the dark realm of Xibalba, from which the tree of life grew through the earth, into the heavens, and through 13 levels to reach Timoanchan, which translates to place of the misty sky. When you died, your soul didn't go to heaven or hell, but to Xibalba, and had to make the journey through the 9 levels while defending against the Xibalbans, the Dark Lords, who were there to trick and destroy the soul rather than to help it ascend. If you navigate Xibalba, the 9 levels of the underworld, and the 13 levels of the higher world, you would reach paradise, which wasn't actually in the sky, but a mountain on earth. There were ways to skip Xibalba and head straight to Timoanchan, and among these were if you died in childbirth, as a sacrificial victim, in warfare, on the ball court, or by suicide, since the Maya had a goddess of suicide named Ishtar. According to the Quiche Maya, who were the Maya from the south, the creation of the earth began with the god of the wind and sky, Huracan. The earth and the sky connected, but it left no room for anything in between, so the gods planted the ceiba tree. The roots grew into the underworld, while the branches grew into the upper world, and the tree trunk grew wide, so there would be room for animals, plants, and humans. Before there were humans, there were only animals, but the gods grew unhappy because the animals couldn't speak or honor them, so humans were created to honor the gods. The Maya calendar isn't actually one calendar, but 2, which work together simultaneously. There's the Haab, or civil calendar, of 365 days in an 18-month period of 20 days each, and the Tzolkin, or sacred calendar, of 260 days divided into 3 groups of months of 20 days. The 2 calendars working together is known as the calendar round, but can only count for dates 52 years in the future. It was 52 years because that was thought to be the amount of time required for a person to attain wisdom and knowledge of the seen and unseen worlds. 52 years of 365 days per year were set as calendar round, perhaps so that one could calculate how one was doing in acquiring said wisdom or knowledge, to celebrate one's birthday, and whatever else needed to be observed in a year. The long count calendar, which is the calendar that attained lots of international interest leading up to 2012, is the one used for longer calculations. The long calendar, which began on the 11th of August, 3114 BCE, went into its next cycle on the 21st of December 2012. There were never any writings by the Maya which suggested a worldwide catastrophe on the day in which the next cycle began, and the calendar can just continue on for millions and billions of years. Neither did the Maya believe a catastrophic event heralded the period in which they created the calendar. Remember that the Maya believed all of life was cyclical. Well, this means there is no end, only continuous change and continual beginnings. The writing of the Maya is known as hieroglyphics, and although some of the language has been deciphered, much of the issues deciphering it are due to the same man who is the reason why we know so much about them. Bishop Diogo de Landa arrived in 1549 CE with the goal of converting the indigenous population to Christianity. The concept of a god who dies and returns was something the Maya already had in their own religion, the maize god. So they accepted the story of Jesus Christ pretty quickly. Although many of the Maya were responding positively to the introduction of Christianity, there was a growing group who was not converted, and to crush the rebellion, the bishop took extreme matters. On July 12, 1562, Landa burned over 40 Mayan books and over 20,000 images and stelae. Landa went so far as to torture many of the local inhabitants, and was inevitably condemned by the other priests, and was ordered to return to Spain and answer for his actions. It was due to part of his written defense that we know so much about the religion and the culture of the Maya. In defending his actions, he had to explain what he had been responding to. But still, he destroyed so many Maya books that only 3 of them, known as codices, remain. The Maya built soaring pyramidal structures all across Mesoamerica. The culture was made up of independent city-states, and the architecture shows both regional differences and similar attention and layout throughout the cities. They constructed the buildings out of local resources like limestone and sandstone, and unlike many other cultures, the Maya did not differentiate between religious and non-religious buildings. Along with the monumental pyramid temples, the Maya constructed ornate palaces, administrative buildings, and developed deliberate urban planning. Typical features of their architecture also include sculpture, corbelled roofing, mouldings of Maya glyphs, and religious iconography. Another common and important feature of Maya cities was the ball court on which Pocatoke was played. Pocatoke was more than a spectator sport, but symbolized both the human struggle and reflected the Maya's view on existence. The game was played with 2 teams of 7 players, and they had to try and score a small rubber ball through a vertical hoop that could reach as high as 20 feet in the air, or higher. Players weren't allowed to use their hands and feet, only their hips, shoulders, head, and knees. At the end of the game, it isn't exactly clear who, but either the winning team captain, the losing team, or the losing team captain was sacrificed, since human sacrifice wasn't viewed as a negative thing. Teams may not have been continually sacrificed, since there's records of there being star teams. And as more hieroglyphics are discovered and interpreted, the more we continue to understand about this game, which was clearly a deeply meaningful experience to the Maya, both for players and spectators. The Maya cities are believed to have had independent rulers who were viewed as godlike, and so the emphasis was laid upon establishing and keeping dynasties, in which rule was passed down with a specific family. This meant there were sometimes female rulers. This might have happened if the next king was too young to rule, if the presiding king had gone off to war, or for any other reason which made the king unavailable. There always had to be a presiding monarch in place to act as an intermediary between the people and their gods, and perform the rituals which brought fertility and maintained order. Throughout the history of the Maya, they never united as an empire under one ruler, and there were frequent wars between the city-states over resources. As already noted, in around 1500 CE, the Maya left their well-built temples and cities and relocated to rural areas. Although we aren't entirely sure why, one of the reasons often given is warfare, which depleted resources and populations. The civilization did not end, however, and the claim that the Maya mysteriously disappeared is unfounded. Today, the Maya still farm the same land and travel the same rivers as their ancestors, often observing their same beliefs and speaking their same language. Although the region was Christianized, the religious practices today are something of a hybrid of European Catholic Christianity and Maya mysticism. Can you think of any other region which practices a religion that may be a combination of multiple beliefs? Let us know down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on any new uploads. As always, if you want to know more, we have linked below some of our articles on the Maya civilization down below, so do check them out. This video was brought to you by World History Encyclopedia. For more great articles and interactive content, head to our website via the link below. World History Encyclopedia is a non-profit organisation, so if you'd like to support our work, you can head to our Patreon via the link in the top corner or via the link down below. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you soon with another video.